अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to our Iskcon official YouTube channel. Today I am going to speak on the last chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto, that is 31st chapter. So here in this chapter we will hear how Narad Muni instructs Prachitas. Prachitas are the sons of 10 sons of Prachinavari, and the son of these Prachitas will be Daksha. We have already discussed. And about Daksha, though he is the son of Brahma, but he will give up that body and again come as the son of Prachitas, and he will do this austerity. Will be discussed in 6th canto. Anyway, so the great saint Maitra continued. Sorry. After that, the Prachitas lived at home for thousands of years and developed perfect knowledge in spiritual consciousness. At last, they remembered the blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and left home, putting their wife in charge of a perfect son, that is Daksha. Their wife is Marisa, which is reared by the trees. And in from 8 to 14, these 7 verses describes how devotional service is goal of all spiritual practices. In verse 9, it is stated that Narad Muni, that Tajjanma tani karmani tadayu tan manovacha nunam jena hi visvatma shrebyate haridishwara. The great Sri Narad Muni said, when a living entity is born to engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Controller, his birth, all his fruitive activities, his lifespan, his mind and his words are all actually perfect. Otherwise it is useless. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada Maharaj says, it is particularly mentioned herein that birth is successful if an interest in Krishna consciousness is taken. Activity is successful if it results in serving the Lord. Philosophical speculation or mental speculation is successful when engaged in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The senses are worth possessing when engaged in the service of the Lord. If not used, then these are all condemned. They are useless. It is described in 2nd canto, 3rd chapter by Saunagrusi. By Saunagrusi. Anyway, Narad Muni says, further instructs, Shrutena tapasa vakim vachobhi chitta vrittibhi buddhya vakim nipunaya badena indriya radasa. What is the use? Without devotional service, what is the meaning of severe austerities? The process of hearing, the power of speech, the power of mental speculation, elevated intelligence, strength, and the power of the senses. Maybe very expert, but not doing devotional service, all useless. In verse 14, Narad Muni says a very famous verse, Yatha tarunmula nisechanena trupendi tatskanda bhujapusaka pranapaharacha jatindriyanam tathaiva sarvaharanam achyutejya. As pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and limbs of the body, simply worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Yatha Murasya Skandhadina cha Sekhe na dosa pratyuta guna eva iti. If someone, we Prachitas will think or will ask this question, that even if we pour water in the roots, but if we put some water in the twigs or in the branches, what is that? Is there any harm? No, nothing. So, iti asankya dushtanta antaram Narad Muni realized that it may be asked. So he give another example. Just what is that example? Pranasya upaharo bhojanam. The gift of the prana or the our life is bhojan, is food. And tasmadeva indriyanam trupti na tu tat tat indriyesu pruthak pruthak anulepat pratyuda nayana karna adisu andha badhira adi utpadanat dosya. Suppose we are taking some food and in our mouth we are putting food and mouth is digesting and chewing and sending it to stomach, etc. But if we put some food in our eyes, then our eye will be blind. Or if we put some food in our ear, then we will be hard of hearing. We will be deaf this way. That's why this example is given by Narada. So, in 15 to 17, these three verses, Narada Muni says, the Lord is worthy of all worship. Narada Muni gives an example. During the rainy season, where water is generated from the sun, and in due course of time, during the summer season, the very same water is again absorbed by the sun. Similarly, all living entities, moving and inert, are generated from the earth, and again after some time they all return to the earth as dust. Similarly, everything emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in due course of time everything enters into Him again. So, in 18 to 22, these 5 verses, Narada says how to satisfy the Lord. That is by devotional service. In verse 19, Narada says, Daya sarvabhuteshu santushtya jena kenava sarvendriyo pasantaya cha tusyati asu Janardana. How the Lord is satisfied? Narada Muni says, by showing mercy to all living entities, being satisfied somehow or other, and restricting the senses from sense enjoyment, and one can very quickly satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardana. So Sripad Siddhar Swami says, sadhanam aha dayadhivi sighram tusyati. This is the process to satisfy the Lord, sadhana. Dayadhivi, by this daya means by showing mercy and all these things. The Lord will be satisfied very easily, very quickly. Sighram tusyati. So in 23 to 31, these 9 verses describe Maitra's conclusion. Concludes Maitra Muni. This is these 2 cantos, 3rd canto and 4th canto. This is Vidura Maitra Samvad. Thereafter, Sukadeva Goswami will take over. So in 23, the great message Maitra Muni continued. My dear King Vidura, Sri Narada Muni, the son of Lord Brahma, thus described all these relationships with the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the Prachetas. Afterward, he returned to Brahma Loka, where Brahma stays. So in 31, it stated, O King, those who hear these topics about kings who are completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead obtain without difficulty a long life. So these are our profits by hearing about the Lord, about in Bhagavatam. First thing is that we will have a long life, then wealth, and good reputation, good fortune, and ultimately the opportunity to return home back to Godhead. That is the final perfection of our life, to go back to the Godhead. So Prabhupada Maharaj wants us to go back to the spiritual world in this very life. That's why he has introduced all these things in Iskcon. So in the next chapter, we'll hear, then that is the 5th canto. 5th canto, that is described as the navel of the Lord. This entire Bhagavatam is described as the entire body of the Lord, spiritual body of the Lord. 1st canto and 2nd canto are 2 legs. 3rd canto and 4th canto are 2 thighs. And 5th canto is his navel. We'll hear sthanam, which place is there, where is which place, like that. That is described in fifth canto. It is called geography. Geography. So we'll hear that. And descendants of Swayambhuva. We have heard about Prahlad, then Devoti, and Prasuti, and Akuti, and now the eldest son of Swayambhu Manu, Priyavrata. We'll hear about him in the next canto. So thank you very much for listening to this lecture, and please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our channel and get the blessings of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.